Okay, so that's our introduction slide. As I said, my name is Ryan Harrison. We'll be talking with Cameron a little bit later in the RA section. And then thank you, Patty, for your introduction. Okay, so let's dive right in. What we're looking at here first is the Art Center building. The Art Center building is on our Ford campus, and it is our traditional apartment style facility. So what rooms that incoming students would have access to at the Art Center building would be we have 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units. In a 2-bedroom unit, there would be 4 students, 1 private bathroom for the suite, a living room and a kitchen. I don't know if you can see here in these pictures, but the kitchen is full, so it comes with a stove and a fridge. We do not provide microwaves, but you are welcome to bring one. In other words, this is fire code rated, so you are welcome to bring any type of kitchen appliance as long as it stays in the kitchen area. These 2 pictures right here are both of 4-person units. So there's 1 bedroom here, and there's also another bedroom over here. This right here, actually, my apologies. This one's a 6-person unit. So this would have 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and then the living room and the kitchen. So there's a bedroom here, there's a bedroom here, and then there's a bedroom right here you can't see. And then both bathrooms are down this hallway, which unfortunately you can't see as well. But let me show you some more. So this is another example. This one here is also a 6-person unit. So here's a bedroom A, bedroom B, bedroom C. The bathroom would be over here, and then the additional bathroom would be over this way. There's also some additional living room space over here. So this is a pretty sizable space. And then over here is a very, very standard. This is pretty much what all bedrooms look like in the Art Center building. They would be, 1 room for 2 people. There'd be 2 beds. Each student is provided 4 drawers and hanging space, and however that presents itself. And it typically means that they would have one of these units all to themselves. This is all hanging space up here. There are 2 drawers in the bottom, and then each student has these stackable 2 drawers as well, which are designed to stack with each other. So if you'd like to keep them separate, you can, or if you want to condense for space, you can stack them and they will lock into each other. Okay, the Art Center building also does have some community space. You can see here, this is our gym. This is located on the ground floor of that building, so you don't even have to leave to go use it. It is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are welcome to use it as you need. And then this right here, this is the front door that you would come into the building. You check in with the guard here, and then you could come down this hallway. This is our public space this is like soft seating. This would be kind of designed for socializing, watching television, what have you. And then over here to the left, which you can't see, is our public study space. So in that room is just soft seating with tables, and then there's 1 long work table for people to work at. Pretty easy. All right, so now we'll transition over to the Todman Center. The Todman Center is about a mile north of the Ford campus. The Todman Center is 1 large building called the Todman Center. So part of it is housing, part of it's academics. What you're looking at here is an incredibly standard room in the Todman Center. It's about 450 to 500 square feet. It dorms 3 students. And again, the students here would be getting 1 of these cabinets with hanging space, and then each of the rooms have these stackable drawers at the bottom as well. So they would come in the front. Yeah, so so this is the front door, and then there would be a bathroom here as well. I'm sorry, my daughter was yelling in the background. Okay, so then there's a bathroom here as well. So you'd have 3 students in the room with 1 private bathroom. This is not fire rated. So there are kitchen appliances are not allowed in here. However, there is a full cafeteria on the 2nd floor. So students would just need to take the elevator down to the ground floor, then they go up to the cafeteria. And that's also all inside of the building. So there's no need to leave for that. So this is kind of a view from the windows at what the room would look like. These beds are all loftable, so you can put all your beds up high so that you can put items underneath. A lot of people choose to bring desks and put their desks underneath. That is one important piece that I forgot to say earlier, which is CCS does not provide desks. We don't provide desks because each department on campus kind of has different requirements. And so, some people need more drafting, some people need more computer, whatever the case, students bring what's most appropriate for them and their educational experience rather than us trying to guess and choose. So we just don't provide them, but we do provide loftable beds that you have enough space to put underneath what you need to. Yeah, and so this right here would be looking from the hallway into a room. So you can see these big giant windows that look out onto the Detroit City line. Pretty beautiful space. So yeah, that would be one of the Todman Center rooms. This right here, we have very few of them. I think there are 60 students per floor, meaning there are roughly 20 rooms, but there are 2 corner units per floor, and these are quads. So these would be 4 students. Obviously more square footage and a little different layout, but we do have that option as well. Okay, the last thing about the Todman Center that's exciting for us is, so the Todman Center is shaped like, the housing space is shaped like a U. So all of the residential rooms basically surround public spaces, and each floor has 3 main public spaces. So the first floor, the first room that all 5 floors share is a soft space. So there's just couches in there and televisions, and we don't put desks in those spaces in an attempt to keep workers out of there. This is a room meant to be loud. This is a room meant to be socialized in, watching TV, laughing, building community, getting to know your friends, making memories in that way. And then there is also one dedicated workspace. It's not carpeted, so people can do their chalks or their paints. You can do that in the workspace. And that room has no television in it. And that is specifically designed to be quiet so students can focus. And then each floor in the middle has a unique space. So on the 6th floor, we have a bunch of extra tables, so that that's another giant study space. We also have a workout space, which you can see here. The only people who have access to the Todman Center workout facility are Todman residents, and nobody outside of that. So this is just if you live in the building, you can come down and use that space, but the rest of the campus community cannot. We also have a conferencing space in case groups want to meet on campus. We have over here, this is our movie theater room. So it's designed specifically for watching movies with the projector up top. And then finally, we have a game room, which has the ping pong and the pool. And I believe there's foosball in there as well, and also a television. So that's, again, a social space. Okay, so now that we've seen the dorms, the residence halls, how do you get in? So we have recently transitioned to a new software called Mercury. And so you can find Mercury in your Access Manager. An important note about Mercury is Mercury will not be active to you until you have made your $250 enrollment deposit. Once you've made that deposit, it takes, on average, it's about 72 hours, but there have been a couple instances where it's taken maybe a day or 2 longer, and those are business hours. So Saturdays and Sundays are not, so they don't count. Okay, so what we love about Mercury is it gives us an opportunity for you to tell us and our system some important information about you. So first is you'll give them your demographic information. One caveat that I'll say about your demographic information is this system pulls your gender by your legal gender. So it takes what's off of your driver's license and assigns it to the building. If you have a need that doesn't match what's on your driver's license, you'll just need to email me and we can discuss gender neutral housing for you. So yeah, I think there's a slide later where we can talk about that a little deeper. So You'll fill in those demographic information, including there's 5 questions that we've written up, and those 5 questions are based on the 5 topics that come up for discussion living in a residence hall the most. So it's things like, what time do people go to bed? What is your guest policy? What is your item sharing? What's your level of comfort with sharing items? Questions like that. So that'll be able to tell our system, at least try to match you with people who you're compatible with on the topics that we see people have the varying level of disagreements on throughout the year. Okay. The other thing that it allows us to do is, if you have a friend who you're interested in living with and neither of you have yet registered, you can tell the system to link the 2 of you together to be a roommate group. And then when it comes time for placement, the system will look at you as one entity and place you in a room together. So you can live with friends. If one of your friends has already signed up and is living in housing and you yet are not, and you'd like to live with them, you need to email me and I need to make that change manually for you. Okay, once you've filled out your housing demographic information and answered those questions, you'll then need to make your $300 first housing payment. You'll make this payment right through the Mercury website. This is a first housing payment and it is not a fee. What I mean by that is, this is the $300 out of your final housing cost for a semester. So hypothetically, let's say that you live in a unit that's $4,000 for the semester. You make your $300 payment. Due on August 1st will be $3,700. That $300 has already been credited to your to your housing payment. It is not a fee. Finally, once you've made that payment, your application will be complete and there will be nothing necessary on your end. We will then work through any of those unique requests that I talked about earlier, make sure that those things are set, and then we'll go to IntelliSign. IntelliSign is one of the main reasons we purchased Mercury in the first place, because what IntelliSign does is, in addition to clumping roommate groups together, it also is the system that is looking at each of those questions that I had talked about earlier and placing you with people who the system thinks you would fit with best. It basically starts at the top and says, let's do all the 100% matches we can do. Then let's go down to 80, let's go down to 60, and it works our way down. So it's not guaranteed to make everyone happy. That's not how living with people work. But it is a way in which we can do the best we can ahead of time with trying to get people who have similar living preferences living with each other. I'm talking a lot. Okay. So living on campus. So this website that I have here, if you're on our website, this page here is our on-campus housing page. It has a couple important documents that I want you to be aware of. The first one is our housing information packet. And this is basically a crash course in everything you need to be aware of as a student to live on campus. So where it starts is, page 1 is the introduction, the table of contents, and then it's information about move-in. It gives you kind of where to be, when to be, what to be prepared for, also what to bring to campus, what our recommendations are to bring, and what our recommendations are to leave at home. And so that'll be all on move-in day. And then the next page is called day 1. And that's where we give you information that we think that you want to have about living on campus, but also living in the community on day 1. So what that means is, it talks about the different modes of transportation that we can offer you to get around the city. It talks about places where you can get food. It talks about places where you can get money, those types of things. So it's kind of like, here's a crash course in not only moving into campus, but also living in this area. And then after that, it gets into kind of the nitty gritty on rules and procedures and policy and all of those things. Okay. Emotional support policy. Okay, so I get questions about emotional support animals all the time. We are required by law to allow students to bring their emotional support animals. However, we do have a pretty strict policy on what needs to be provided to campus in order to bring your animal. The thing that trips people up often is the letter from the doctor needs to have a lot of very specific information in it, and doctors are not often prompted themselves to write all that out. So what I always suggest is, if that's something you're interested in doing, is bringing an emotional support animal to campus, is either print or email our policy to your doctor so that they're familiar with what we're looking for and they can make sure they can include all that information. If you have any questions about that policy, I'm more than happy to discuss that through email, or we can talk about it after in the questions section. Okay, our gender neutral housing policy. So I know I referenced that a bit earlier. Basically, what our gender neutral policy on campus is designed for is basically, if a student would like to enter a GNH, then they are basically telling housing that gender is not a requirement for my placement on campus. It basically means I'm forfeiting the requirement for my roommates to match the gender that's on my driver's license. So what that means is, sometimes we just have best friends who are, cis male, cis female. They want to live together. They've been friends forever. That's allowed. They both can enter into a gender neutral housing agreement, and they can live together. We also have gender neutral spaces for those who do not identify in the same way that their license says. And they're looking for other people who share that, share that life experience as well. And so if that's something that you'd like more information on, it's all here on the website. It's kind of like an FAQ to explain all of how we interact with gender neutral housing. If you'd like to enter into that, you'll need to email me, because our system, unfortunately, doesn't work in a way that you can control that. That has to be something manually done by me. I can only I can control the gender neutral housing. So if that's something you're interested in or have further questions on, please be sure to email me and let me know, and we can discuss that. Finally, on the on-campus housing page, there's a video. It's maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and it just walks you through the housing application, just to kind of give you some pointers and tips along the way. And so, like, if you ever feel like you're getting stuck, take a watch at the video aid first, and that might help you through. And if not, you can always reach out to me. A lot of times I can answer those questions via email, but there have been a couple who I've popped on a Zoom call with and asked them to share their screen, and that's also worked very well. Okay. This is just a quick caveat, because it does come up from time to time. CCS does not offer any type of off-campus housing. However, we have put together resources from people in the area to help you with your search. So what that means is, we've provided a few search tools that kind of look all around campus to offer, to show you what's available. But then we've also, we've had some local real estate people reach out to us and say, hey, we have these things we think would be a good fit for students. We look those things over. Yeah, they seem to be in a good student budget. They seem to be safe. They seem to be close to campus. This does seem to be something that one of our students would benefit from. And if that's the case, then we drop it on that website. These are not recommendations. These are just tools from people who have reached out to us. So you're welcome to peruse that if you choose. But we do not have anything affiliated specifically with us and off campus. Okay, so get a lot of questions about meals and meal plans. If you live in the Todman Center, a meal plan is required. If you live in the Art Center building, it is not required because of the kitchens. You can cook your own food. But if you are looking to use dining dollars to eat throughout the campus, you can do so. We've got our largest cafeteria on campus is in the Todman Center. It's on the second floor. It has tons of different options. I think it has a daily salad and soup station. It has a pizza station. It has a stir fry station. It has a specialty sandwich station. It has a special of the day station, and it has a grill station. So it's robust, and the chef there, in my opinion, is excellent. They have lots of great options every day. And then on the other side of the wall, they have basically a wall of refrigerators of other options that get made off-site at their larger kitchen space. They package that up and then send it fresh the next day. Every Monday, I think they have sushi there. They always have fruit cups and hummus and vegetables and desserts and all those types of things. So that's where our largest cafeteria is on campus, is in the Todman Center. We also have a smaller cafeteria on the Ford campus, mainly because it's mostly commuters and art center students, so it's not as robust, but it does have 10 sandwiches that rotate weekly, and there are also daily specials of hot meals. And last week on Wednesday, I had teriyaki salmon on a bed of rice with broccoli. It was excellent. I have really enjoyed the smaller cafeteria on the Ford campus. And then both of our buildings have a 24-hour, it's called a large vending space. But essentially what that means is Continental, which is our dining provider, they make food fresh off-site, and then they bring those things in for students to get. So there are sandwiches, pastas. I'm not in those 24-hour vending spaces as much as the other ones, but it's not like a vending machine. It is a large space that's monitored by cameras and such. But there is like fresh food that you can get 24 hours a day in those spaces. And there is one of those on each campus. I do want to point out that our meal plan sizes have changed since last year. And this was done because they hadn't been updated since I'd worked here. And like I said, I've been here 10 years. So this was the first update we've made in 10 years. And we've done that to make sure that these plans are matching inflation and the rise in food costs. Basically, we just found that the small meal plan was running out on students before the semester ended, and they were running out of food. So we changed those to be more reflective of how students are spending on campus in 2024. The last thing I want to say about meal plans that is very important is a meal plan agreement is for an academic year, and it's not per semester. So if you live in the Todman, it's required. If you said, I don't want a meal plan, a small meal plan will be added to your account. If you live in the Art Center building and you enter into a meal plan agreement, and then by October you say, oh, I've been cooking all my meals, I don't want to use this anymore, you've already entered into that agreement. It's for the academic year. So I want to make sure whenever I'm talking about meal plans that we're very clear on how that policy works. It's for the academic year, not for the semester. It's billed semesterly, but the academic agreement, the agreement is for the academic year. Okay. Campus safety. Another big question we get about being right downtown in the heart of Detroit is how safe is it? And that's a great question. So CCS has actually been rated one of the safest college campuses in Michigan. It's something that our crew is very proud of and they expect to maintain. We have, pardon me. We have a security staff on campus 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'll talk about how that relates to housing in just a moment. We also have a shuttle service that runs, again, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week between both campuses. During day hours, the shuttle runs from the Walter B. Ford building, and then at 11 o'clock, it picks up and drops off immediately in front of the Art Center building so that people can get back to their residence hall and feel safe doing so. We have a partnership with the Wayne State University Police These are not security guards. These are sworn officers who work at the university. It is their response time to CCS is about 90 seconds. If we have an emergency, those people are here to assist, like I said, very quickly. The Detroit Police Department does not have that same response time, so we're very fortunate to work so closely with Wayne State on that. Okay, so as I said earlier, the 5 security steps to get to a student room. So we do take campus security very seriously. And I just wanted to talk to you how a person would get from the street up to a student room. So for starters, we have cameras all over campus that are watched by a supervisor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Their job is just to watch the screens and coordinate the other security staff on campus. We also have a patrol who's walking campus. I think it's twice an hour. I don't work for security. I don't know that number for sure. But their job is to constantly be walking around campus, just being aware of what's going on. And so that would be, for me, that would be security step 1. Security step 2 is you need an ID badge to scan into the building. So in the Art Center building, you have to be an Art Center building student to scan in the front door. The Todman Center also opens to campus, so your ID will get you into the building. But then once you head towards the housing space in Todman, and then once you get past the front door in the Art Center building, there will be a guard who is there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as students are in the building, there will always be a guard at the front door of both housing facilities. And their job is to check your ID badge that, one, the color of the ID badge matches your building. So every year there's a designated color. So they want to make sure that you definitely are supposed to be here. And there's a picture of you on the card. And so they're making sure that the face matches the card. They will do this every single time, no matter how well they know you or don't know you. They will check you every single time. That's part of protocol. And that's for both buildings. So that would be checkpoint number 2. You then need your badge to operate. I'm sorry, that was checkpoint number 3. You then need your badge again to operate the elevators to get up and down and through the building. So even if you get past that guard, you still need your badge to move yourself up and down. And then finally, the last checkpoint, checkpoint 5, would be your room key. So in the Art Center building, those are hard keys. In the Todman Center, that's your student ID badge. You give it a swipe and it lets you in. The last thing that I'll say about campus safety is each floor has, in the Art Center building, each floor has one RA who is responsible for, well, Cameron will tell you what RAs are responsible for, but they are students who are trained by myself and my colleagues to support students. And in the Todman Center, there are 2 RAs per floor because we try to keep it to about 1 in 30. And then we also have a live-in professional who lives in each building. Ann Hawkins in the Todman Center and Rebecca Hanna in the Art Center building. Both of those students have their masters in higher education. Both of those people were also RAs to start with and also had supervision experience in their graduate work, and then came to us. I tell people all the time, I am only good at my job because those 2 people are so wonderful and talented, and I just get to look shiny at the top. But the majority of the success of this department is because of how talented those 2 are, and I couldn't be more grateful for them. Yeah, the best endorsement that I can give you for the safety of campus is I lived on campus with my wife, my dog, and my son. Once our department grew, I ended up moving off campus, but that was not because I was worried. That was just a logistical choice. But yeah, I felt safe with my family there. So you can feel safe living here. You can feel safe with your child coming here. Okay, so I've done tons of talking. Thank you for being patient with me. I'm going to actually now turn it over to Cameron, and he's going to introduce himself, and then we've got a couple questions that we've put on the screen here for him to answer, just so you can get kind of an idea of what the student experience is like and what we are trying to provide you. So Cameron, if you'd like to rock.
Perfect. Great job, Ryan. Appreciate that intro.
You. Thank you.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Cameron Sherman. I'm a senior in illustration and the RA for the 6th floor of the ACB. This would be my second year on staff, and I'm just happy to be here and, give you a little inside window on how this student experience goes. First question we have here is, tell us about your best memory as a resident. So this memory has to do with my roommates back in freshman year. It was a whole bunch of wide range of people. We had seniors in illustration, transportation. We had someone in fashion. It was a very diverse combination of people coming together in this room space. But for my favorite moment would have to be waking up one morning and wasn't quite sure what it was at first, but I woke up to my roommate singing "I Got Friends on the Other Side" from Princess and the Frog in the kitchen, just out of the blue, just like at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I gotta tell you, it was the best alarm clock I ever had. I still keep in contact with these freshman roommates, and yeah, honestly, I rate my experience 5 stars with that one. All right, next one. Tell us about living in an artistic community. Well, first of all, I should say it's great. I'm constantly improving my work, and I'm constantly getting help with my fellow artists. I'm getting critiques, and I'm constantly getting shared opportunities, whether that's by text message, Instagram, Facebook. I'm constantly being hit up from friends in my class that are like, "Hey, this isn't for me, but I figured this would be down your alley in terms of work." And it's amazing. It's really that sense of community. All right. What advice do you have about finding a community on campus? Honestly, just keep your eyes open. If you look at your email, the school sends out emails weekly about events that are happening, clubs, get-togethers, and I find those are the best ways to make friends. Tell us about your role as an RA. What are you trained to do? So that's a difficult answer, or that's a difficult question, but it has a good answer. I see RA as being a bridge between CCS and its residents. We are there to listen to residents, help mediate when needed, and direct them to campus resources that could be relevant. We also check on our residents monthly and plan events to engage them in campus life. Speaking of programs, tell us about 2 programs you're proud of. So since I've been on been here for 2 years in the RA residence, staff, we've planned quite a few events, but I gotta say my 2 favorite would have to be one from freshman year and one just from this past year, or this current year. The first one, I was an RA alternate, which is just a step below an RA, in which we did an event called Drinks Around the World. We basically all made non-alcoholic beverages that were famous in different countries and gave them out to students walking by. It was a huge success, and I made literally the night before an entire jug of this combination of this fancy drink from Jamaica, and it was completely gone before the event was over. And yeah, it was one of my proudest moments of just being able to talk to residents as they were coming by and getting to explain the drink and the history behind it. And the other event, which we just did, was in combination with Pine Knob, in which we reached out and we were able to send a group of students to go and learn skiing. They provided the equipment, training, and they gave us access to one of their hills, and we were able to get to an affordable price of $20 to $40 per person. It was a great event. I showed up for a little bit. I couldn't stay too long because I was sick at the time, but from what I heard back and talking to my residents after the event, it was a fantastic memory. All right, I think that's about it. I'll end this by saying thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And if you have any questions at the end about being an RA or being a student, please reach out. I'd love to answer them. And back to you, Ryan.
Whew.
Brian, I'm going to jump in
Okay.
because we did have a question that I couldn't answer in the chat. They wanted to
Great.
know if unused meal plan funds carry over to the next year. And then there was also a question about, can they add to those funds during the school year if they run out before the end of the school year?
Two excellent questions. Any unused dollars that are not used in fall will roll over to the winter. Any unused dollars in winter are forfeit at the end of the year. As for adding, if you run out, what we suggest is, well, a couple things. One is debit cards and credit cards can also be used in the cafeteria. So if you run out, you can still use money to buy food. The other option that people do is you can put, well, currently you can use flex dollars to pay for food in the meal in the cafeterias as well. What a flex dollar is either a student or a parent can put money onto, it's basically like CCS dollar account that can be used. A flex dollar can be used in the cafeteria. It can be used in the bookstore. It can be used like if you've got extra and you want to just put it towards your tuition, any of that. It's basically just like CCS campus credit. So if you have run out of a meal plan and you'd rather not use a debit card, but you're like your folks want you to use it specifically for food on campus, a flex plan would be a good fit there. So that's how I'll answer that.
And also, if anyone has, thank you, Ryan, sorry. If anyone does have any other questions they want to ask live and in person, you are welcome to unmute yourself and ask them now of Ryan or Cameron, or me, I guess. Answered. Do we need emotional support? Do we list emotional support as A/A/a medical need in the chat?
I suspect that question means on the housing application. You can put it there, yep. But that would not be sufficient for being able to bring your animal. That would just be kind of a hint for us that that's something you're interested in. What that's really meant for, what that section on the application is really meant for is like if something happens to you that, you know, like if you have a seizure or something, we're going to look in that section first to see if there's some clues that we could give someone who's there to help you. The real way that you prompt us to start the emotional support animal process is to send me your doctor's note and your vet records. So yeah, you can put it there. That would be fine. But that wouldn't be sufficient to get it approved. Cool. Great.
Michaela also asked a very good question, and that is about availability for the coming semester.
Oh, great question. Okay. So we still have plenty of availability. What we ended up doing for, because of the FAFSA challenges, we ended up putting beds aside specifically designed for incoming students. So you are not competing with returning students for placement. You're only competing with other incoming students. So there have been some who have already made their decision and are registered, but we do have a lot of empty beds still available because a lot of people are still waiting on FAFSA information. I have been working on placement all day yesterday and a little bit today as well. I am certain that there are maybe 9 to 12 Art Center building beds available for incoming students still available. All of 4-person units have been used. There are 6-person units available, and there are tons left in the Todman. What I would quickly say, however, is we put very few in the Art Center building because it's our most coveted space, and returning students, you know, really feel passionately that it should be theirs. So you kind of earn your way up. But I think that's twofold. One is, you know, if you live on campus and then want to return the following year, my opinion is that there's tons of research that talks about your level of connection, your level of a connection with students, your level of connection with the institution, the community that you build, the higher that is, the more probable you are to graduate. And students, incoming students who move into the Todman Center first, that building is just more efficient at helping you build connections with students. A lot of people use those public spaces, and that's a good way to get to know a lot of people on your floors. We find that the majority of students who live in the Art Center building, because all of their amenities are right there, they don't venture out as much. So they may become good friends with their roommates, but it's harder to build those connections in the Art Center building. So what I always say is, if my child comes to CCS, I would coach them to go to the Todman Center their freshman year, make all the friends they can, pick their 3 closest, and then go to the Art Center building their sophomore year with them. That would be my suggestion. The Todman, like I said, the Todman Center is an incredibly efficient way at getting to know a lot of people. So we run a placement about every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm wrapping up Monday's placement, so we'll probably do another placement in, again, about 2 to 3 weeks. When that process is completed, we email the student on their CCS email account. Oh yeah, great. So my email just got put in there. If anyone has any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, I threw Ryan's in there.
It's
The
the
other
most
option
efficient
is you
way to
can
get in
always
contact
reach
with
out
them.
to your admissions counselor, and we can always put you in touch with anyone in the offices on campus. If you're not, I've had a number of students in the last couple of weeks, for example, they weren't sure who to talk to, so they reached out to me, which is perfect. And then I could forward them to the right person. So again, Ryan's email is right in there. If you have any questions or you need to discuss something with him, he's very approachable. I would definitely reach out to him. And like I said, after today, if you lose that or you don't remember who he is, you can always reach out to your admissions counselor. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Ryan and Cameron, for another great presentation on housing at CCS. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. We will talk to you all soon. Have a good night.